Bill, tell me what you'd like to talk about for this last segment of the show.
Okay. So we've talked a lot in various ways about stress, and I'm obviously passionate about that, and passionate about helping people reduce their stress. So with all I've done over all the years to help people with that, the area that I think people are missing when they say, all these stress reduction techniques and all of these other things that people do, all well and good, but it doesn't solve the underlying problem. Let me give you an example before I then go into this in more deeply. I was chatting with my dad one day about a patient of his. Dad was a GP. And we were chatting about one of his patients. And he said, Bill, he said, I had a builder in to see me recently. And he said, and I just felt what I needed to do with this. But the builder he was burnt out. He was depressed and with life and everything. He was about 40, so midlife crisis sort of time. And Dad listened to his story and said, look, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go and have an IQ test. Would you be okay to do that? And this brickie, he was a brickie. He said, yeah, doc. He said, whatever you tell me to do, I'll do it, doc. No worry, So off he went, and he had his IQ test done. The guy had an IQ of 164. He was Mensa intelligent. And my dad sat down with him and then subsequently with me, and he said to this guy, he said, now do you understand why you're depressed and bored and so on? And the builder said, the brickie said, you mean I should really use my brain a bit more? His dad said, absolutely. He said, you're not stimulating yourself by sitting there day in, day out, putting bricks one on top of another. And the guy went off and I think did a degree and did all sorts of things with his life from that one conversation.
Wow.
But the beauty of the story is that there was a man who was, I admire bricklayers. Look, I built a brick barbecue, years ago when we lived in Folkestone in Kent. Honestly, it leaned more than the Tower of Pisa. It was a disaster. It worked, but it was a work of art, but a bent work of art. So I really admire brickies. I think they do a fantastic job, as I do, all these, carpenters and so all the trades that, they do things I just wish I could do, and I can't. And I'll admit it as well. Anyway, so I realized that there are deeper issues that people never address. And one of those things, so when we're looking at stress is we peel back all the layers. Okay. Now you and I are just talking in the break there about your passion. Mm-hmm. Now, what is that really? That's peeling back all the layers of stress and coming to the essence of you that says, you know what, if I could really do what I really wanted to do, it would be this. And I would therefore say, okay, fine, let's make that happen. Let's make that happen. So that's why, and I do talk about this book because it's not published yet, but it's called The Diamond Principle. You can sort of see it there.
Yep.
But the point about this book is it's really very much about taking people on. It's a fiction story. And also there are 3 sections to the book. So there's a fiction story, which is about the guy who works out what he wants to do with his life. And the people who he encourages along the way. Then there's a middle part, which is about the pillars in life that support whatever we want to do. And then there's a practical part at the end as well. So the book comes in three sections. But the beauty, I think, of the book is that it allows people to unravel and say, okay, to be honest with you, let's say that you come to a meeting with me and you go, I really don't know what I want to do with my life, but if you can tell me, I'd love to know. And I will stand up in front and say, well, I can't tell you exactly what you can do with your life, but I can tell you how you can find it. You see, teach him, you can give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. You can teach him how to fish and he'll fish for a lifetime, unless he doesn't like fish. So this was really where I am now. It was when I looked at my patients and I go, okay, fine, I've solved the problems I can. The chiropractor has solved the problems he or she can. The podiatrist has solved the problems they can. The person has gone for counseling for all those mental issues, but we haven't got to the nub of the problem. And I believe that we need to drill down and find the nub of the problem and deal with that. Let's find that thing. And I said to you earlier on, but a lot of people will say, so again, give you another idea of what I'm talking about here. Your passion Your passion may be to be the best masseur in the world, or you just want to be the best masseur in your environment because you really believe that that's the way you can best serve people. So you go out and you become a massage therapist. You very quickly work out that you can't actually see that many people in a day because your body wears out real quick. So you work out how many people you can see in a week, and then you do that for a while. Then your body takes a bit of a beating. You think, I can't quite see so many people, but you have this passion. But what you realize is your passion isn't paying the bills. And so what you need, therefore, is something that comes alongside that passion that can support it financially. And that's one of the things that I talk about in a lot of detail in that talk, in that session, when I speak, when I'm talking, or even in mentorship sessions, is how can we help you support that passion? Because I believe you should be able to do it. I know what mine is.
Yeah.
I know what mine is. And I also know, therefore, how to support that. And I also know that I can support it from the stage, but there are times when I'm not standing on stage. The times when I need to do it some other way. And it's helping people realize the options that are available to them out there to be able to get them to the point where they can really do what they want to do with the time that they have on this planet.
And they have to be brave enough to step up and have a go at it, because if you don't take that action, nothing happens, does it?
That's absolutely true. But when a lot of people go out and do all sorts of things, they'll go and try something, they'll try a trade, they'll try when I first went to dentistry, people said, well, why did you go into dentistry? Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. Oh, okay. Is that a good reason? No, not particularly. Then later on, people said to me, why did you go to Australia? I said, well, seemed like a good idea at the time. Was it? Well, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But do you see what, a lot of people live their lives on, it seemed like a good idea at the time. But if you move beyond that good idea at the time and say, okay, what is that for me? Then when it clicks, when you know what it is, then, as I said, that gives you the power to move through that adversity, the hard times, because you go, you know what I'm going for is so much bigger than me. That's point number one. It's not about me any longer. I said earlier on, I see wrapped up in your purpose is the solution to somebody else's problem. Okay, so this isn't about me any longer. This is, who can I serve? Who can I help? What am I on earth for? I'm here to serve. Why am I here to serve? Because that's what we're here to do, to help other people do what they want to do. How about I get out of my way, help those people, and by helping them, I'm helping myself. I'm doing what I'm called to do, believe to do. And there's the passion that people have. And yes, it's brave. But when you think about it, and I can look back, I've got many years behind me now, you go, yeah, but look at what the options were and look at the errors you made a lot along the way. And in my case, I can quite openly say, look how much it's cost me. It's cost me a fortune in not doing what I believe I was called to do. And I kept going down these dry alleys, so, thinking it's got to be there. It wasn't. It's going to be here. It wasn't. It's going to be over there. It wasn't. I came to the point where I said, oh, there it is.
Eventually it shows up, but you've also got to allow it to show up, don't you? Instead of fighting all the time and thinking, oh, that's the next best shiny thing, or that's the next best shiny thing. When the shiny objects aren't really what you're looking for. You're looking for that real purpose that comes from within that will shine out eventually when you allow it to.
Yeah.
And as I said before, we all have a brilliance, we all have a magic, we all have superpowers that are here to serve others in some way, shape, or form. All we have to do is find that and work toward that. And that will make you happy.
Yeah.
And it will also help you financially in life and so many other things. I mean, you'll meet great people along the way. You'll learn from others. You'll grow into something more amazing than what you are already.
And I think one of the things, Faye, that we both of us can say is, you get to an age in life where you realize that, I get to an age now when there aren't so many people in front of me as there are behind me, if that makes sense. And you realize that, look, in many ways, look, I was a guru in what I did with headaches and so on and so forth at the age of 33, 34. I knew nothing. I just happened to know more than other people. And so I was teaching this, you know, when I was 33, 34 years of age. I was teaching all this stuff, not this stuff, but the dental stuff. And then, the longer I've been doing it, I thought, oh, hang on a minute. I didn't really know quite as much as I thought I knew then, but I did know more than them. And then as you go through, and then you get to this point where you look back and you go, if I could advise, if I could help, if I could share some of the, not the successes, but the errors, the mistakes that I made in trying to find this thing that I was looking for, then wouldn't I be benefiting people along the way? You see, I'm listening at the moment to a young guy who's he's a mentor and a coach, but he hasn't necessarily got the runs on the board to really highlight some of the things that come up as we go through life. I used to love to sit and listen to my dad was, for me, the wisest man on planet Earth. He really was. I admired him greatly, loved him to pieces, but I admired him greatly. And if I ever needed advice, I would go to him, because I knew that this solid mind that he had, this general practitioner status that he had, the experience he had in life, was so immense for me to listen to. And I'd say, Dad, and he'd sit there and then he'd give me his wisdom. And I think that's the point.
But also what he did was pass that wisdom on to you, because he came to you and asked you a question about a certain person. So that wisdom he had himself, he's passed on to you, so that you can pass that wisdom on to your children, or on whomever you are working with, or mentoring or coaching, or whatever it is. You can pass that wisdom on because your dad's passed it on to you. A great strength.
And it's just a wonderful thing to be able to do, and that's the joy of all these different aspects of life, speaking and writing and mentoring and so on and so forth. It's all part of that for me.
What are you most passionate about when you're speaking? If you're on stage and you're speaking, what is it that you're most passionate about sharing with people?
Offering hope. I think hope is probably one of the things that I know we're going to wrap up soon. So very, very quickly, one of the things that I learned very early on in my practicing career was to be able to, even though the diagnosis could be dire, I had to find a positive spin. I had to find hope within the thing. Let me give you a very quick story. I had a girl who was 22 years old. This is way back in my career. She'd already got 3 children. She's 22, 23 years old. She came in to see me. We had to take out all her teeth. 23 years old, I had to take all her teeth out. I cried when I was doing it. She cried while I was doing it. And I made her a full set of dentures. She'd never, ever had a photograph taken with any of her children or anything. And then 3 weeks later, she came in with these photos, with her new dentures in, with this beautiful smile, and her children. And it was then that I realized that even in that dire time, we had given her hope. So when people come to see me and say, it's all over, isn't it, Doc? You go, no, we'll find a solution. There's going to be something we can do here. And that I found comes out on stage as well, because whatever it is, let's find a way around it. Let's find a solution. Let's sit down and nut this out. And if you want to come to me afterwards and want to sit down with me, and let's find that positive solution here. Even if it feels negative, let's not go there. Let's find the positive spin. Let's find a way around it. It's not being, airy fairy, but let's make a difference here.
And that's what life's all about. If you have that magic and brilliance and you can share it with the world or share it with people, you touch lives and you change lives, and then they can change their life, which changes lives that they're close to, and those lives then change. And so it's that ripple effect. So I know that we've got to go now, but you hopefully are coming to Melbourne to do some talks, which, you know, in the next couple of months. So I'll keep the listeners posted. Yeah, so giving people hope and talking about inspiring people to find their, I'm going to say, magic and their brilliance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want to say thank you, Bill, for spending this time with me. I've absolutely loved the conversation. I've learned so much more about who you are. You've written 5 books. You've got a new book coming out soon, hopefully, and it's called The More, which is in 3 segments. And I think when you do, let me know so that you can come and share it with us once again. That would be fabulous. So if anyone wants to get in contact with Dr. Bill Kellner Read in regards to speaking here in Melbourne, please contact me and I will pass on the message to Bill. I'd love him to come down and, you know, do some talks here and share his brilliance with us and his experiences and everything like that. So thank you, Bill, for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you for asking me.
Don't go anywhere. It's now time for the news, and after the news, it is Sam with Monday Magic. It's bye from me. I'm Faye Waterman. This has been a conversation with Faye. I'll be back next week. Keep safe, have fun, and think about your brilliance and what your superpowers are. Bye for now. I'm going to turn the recording off.
Okay. I'm going to pour myself some more water.
Yeah, that was brilliant. How did you feel?
Yeah, very comfortable. Thank you. You made me feel very comfortable as well, which is nice. Yeah.
That's my superpower.
That's your superpower. It was nice. I mean, you know, it's great because I mean, I think from your point of view, obviously you know, this is obviously an area that you know a lot about, and I think that that's so important. You know, when you're being interviewed, it's nice when somebody actually knows something about what you do, rather than, I mean, I've been interviewed before by people who know absolutely nothing, and you sort of got to wade in and try and get to that point. But thank you that you knew, and you read that book as well, which also
yeah. I'll get to read the others as well too. But it's interesting to, you know, have that. Well, we had conversations when I stayed with you and I was fascinated then, so I wanted to know more. So, you know, and I've learned a lot more about who you are. And I think coming to Melbourne and doing some talks and things would be absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. Did you ever record any of your talks that you've done?
Yes, I have. Goodness knows where they are now, because since we moved up here, we used to have a lot of stuff in storage. So yeah, I did. I have a CD. I mean, you know, that's how old it is. CD of doing the Toxic Bite talks, which was recorded here in Australia. Yeah, so some things like that.
I think you need to draw those out. Do you have a website?
Not only, I have a blog site now. Yeah,
I'd put it on your blog site. I'd be putting it on your blog site. Maybe, do you have a YouTube channel?
Look, I do. Here's the thing, Faye. Throughout my career, and you noticed there were some issues. I was fairly guarded, even now, even though I'm retired, because my profession can be fairly harsh, and they can find ways of getting at you, and I don't want to be got at. You know, I've had some of that. Obviously, when you practice slightly differently, you're going to have people who want to have a go at you, and I don't like that. It makes me feel very uncomfortable and very sad as well, because actually I'm really just here to help. So there's stuff that I'll do on stage to a live audience where I won't allow recording, except I'm the only one who can record it.
I was going to say, if you or when you come to Melbourne and do a talk, I'll video it for you. You can have the tape and then you can do whatever you like with it.
Thank you. Because, you know, it's so important, because if you know, I've read stuff on the internet where people have put something up about me out of context. And I think, no, that wasn't what I said. And, it's been fine. But at the same time, you think, no, that's why I'm so guarded about these things. I love speaking. And one of the great places to speak, of course, is to network marketers, because they're genuinely there for the right reasons. They're not there to try and hang you out to dry. They're just there because they want the knowledge. I would love nothing more than to come down to Melbourne and have a weekend with 10 dentists.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. And then you can tell me recommend one.
Well, exactly right. And then you show them what they can do. And they pay for the privilege. They pay their money and they learn what they have to learn. And
how can I do that for you?
Well, it's a difficult one, because, I don't know. I mean, the dentists that I used to know, most of them are retired. There's only one who isn't retired, and I don't really want to work with him anyway. But I would like to get to, there must be, I mean, I can't be I know I'm not, because we've been having this conversation with this other dentist. There must be dentists out there who are looking for something different,
of course. Of course.
And it's finding them and getting to them and saying, come on, come to a weekend and let's see what we can show you. Because all this personal development stuff goes hand in hand. The stuff that you've done with Barbara, the stuff when we look about personalities, when we start to look at who are you. If I knew if I had really known, and here's the truth, if I'd really known who I was before I started dentistry, I never would have done it. Because it certainly totally does not align with my personality.